Have you ever caught yourself doing something a little strange and wondered, why am I like this? Maybe you talk to yourself while solving a problem. Maybe you stay up way too late thinking about life. Maybe you can't stand small talk and would rather debate the meaning of existence over coffee. And at some point, someone probably told you, you're weird. But what if weird isn't the right word? What if some of those odd habits are actually subtle signs that your brain is wired a little differently? Maybe even more intelligently than average? Because here's the thing, when most people think of high IQ, they picture someone who aces math tests, memorizes facts, or solves puzzles quickly. That's part of it. But intelligence isn't just about performance, it's about patterns. It's about how your brain navigates the world when nobody's grading you, and sometimes those patterns look unusual. Let's start with something simple: talking to yourself. Not in a dramatic movie scene way, just quietly narrating your thoughts while working through a problem. Research in cognitive psychology suggests that self-directed speech can actually improve memory and focus. When you verbalize your thinking, you're engaging multiple neural systems at once: language, working memory, executive function. It's like turning on extra lights in your brain's control room. So if you've ever whispered, okay, first I'll do this, then that, you might not be losing it. You might be optimizing. Then there's the habit of staying up late. Now, I'm not glorifying sleep deprivation. Your brain needs rest. But studies have found correlations between higher intelligence and a preference for later sleep schedules. Evolutionary psychologists suggest that more intelligent individuals may be slightly more willing to break from ancestral patterns. In early human history, sleeping when it got dark was survival. Choosing to stay awake, think, explore ideas, that's deviation. And intelligence often shows up as a willingness to deviate. Another one, you question everything: rules, traditions, advice, not because you're rebellious for the sake of it, but because your brain doesn't like unexamined assumptions. High IQ individuals tend to show stronger analytical thinking and lower cognitive bias. That means when someone says, "This is just how things are," your mind quietly asks, "But why?" That curiosity can make you seem difficult, but psychologically it's linked to deeper processing and independent thought. Let's talk about daydreaming. You might think zoning out is a flaw, but neuroscientists studying the brain's default mode network have found that when your mind wanders, it's not idle. It's integrating information, simulating scenarios, connecting distant ideas. Many highly intelligent people report frequent daydreaming, not because they're unfocused, but because their brains are constantly running background simulations. It's like having dozens of tabs open, not by accident, but because your mind is exploring. Here's another one that surprises people. You prefer being alone, not because you hate people, but because social interaction consumes cognitive resources. Research from evolutionary psychology suggests that more intelligent individuals may derive less happiness from frequent socialization compared to others. Why? Why? Because their brains are stimulated internally. Ideas, problems, abstract thoughts, they're often enough. Solitude becomes a laboratory. And then there's sensitivity, emotional intensity. You might feel things deeply: music, injustice, beauty, criticism. Some studies link higher intelligence with greater emotional reactivity and even anxiety. That's not weakness, it's awareness. A more perceptive brain picks up subtleties others miss. The downside is overthinking. The upside is empathy, nuance, creativity. Let me ask you something. Do you find it hard to turn your brain off? Like even when you're trying to relax, your mind is analyzing conversations, replaying events, imagining future outcomes? That mental restlessness is often associated with higher cognitive ability. Your prefrontal cortex, the planning, reasoning part of your brain, doesn't clock out easily. It keeps scanning, evaluating, predicting. That can feel exhausting, but it's also a powerful tool. Another weird habit: hot, dark humor. Highly intelligent individuals often enjoy complex humor, especially irony and subtlety. Understanding dark or layered jokes requires rapid pattern recognition and contextual processing. Your brain has to detect the hidden structure behind the punchline. If you laugh at jokes other people don't immediately get, it's not because you're twisted. It might be because you're processing faster. Let's shift to something more behavioral. You change your mind. A lot. Contrary to popular belief, intelligence isn't stubbornness, it's flexibility. Studies show that smarter individuals are often more willing to update their beliefs when presented with new evidence. That means you might hold strong opinions, but you're not attached to being right. You're attached to being accurate. That can look inconsistent from the outside. From the inside, it's cognitive agility. You also might struggle with perfectionism. When you can see multiple possible outcomes, multiple flaws, multiple improvements, it's hard to settle for good enough. Intelligent brains simulate more scenarios. They detect more errors. That awareness can turn into paralysis, but it also fuels excellence. Another interesting one, you get bored easily. Not because you're arrogant, but because your brain craves novelty and complexity. Tasks that are repetitive or predictable don't provide enough stimulation. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter linked to motivation, responds strongly to challenge. If your environment doesn't challenge you, your motivation drops. That doesn't mean you're lazy. It might mean you're understimulated. Here's something subtle. You enjoy explaining things to others. Not in a condescending way, but because teaching forces clarity. The protege effect in psychology shows that when we teach information, we understand it more deeply. Highly intelligent individuals often feel a natural urge to break down complex ideas. Not to show off, but because their brains like organizing chaos into structure. And finally, you sometimes feel different. Slightly out of sync. Maybe you notice patterns others don't. Maybe conversations feel shallow. Maybe your interests don't match the crowd. That experience of feeling different is common among high IQ individuals. Intelligence can create a symmetry in how you perceive the world. It's like tuning into a frequency not everyone hears clearly. But here's where I want to be careful. None of these habits automatically mean you're a genius. Intelligence is multifaceted. It's shaped by environment, genetics, effort, opportunity. And having a high IQ doesn't make someone superior. It just means their brain processes information in certain ways. What matters more than IQ is awareness. If you recognize yourself in some of these habits, the goal isn't to label yourself as special. It's to understand your wiring. Maybe your overthinking isn't a flaw. It's a tool that needs direction. Maybe your solitude isn't isolation. It's refueling. Maybe your questioning isn't disrespect. It's intellectual integrity. Psychology teaches us that traits become strengths or weaknesses depending on how consciously we use them. A restless mind can create anxiety or innovation. Sensitivity can create overwhelm or empathy. Curiosity can create conflict or progress. So instead of asking, "Am I weird?" maybe ask, "How is my brain trying to help me?" Because intelligence isn't just about scoring high on a test. It's about how you navigate uncertainty, how you adapt, how you connect ideas, how you learn, and if some of your so-called weird habits are linked to that process. Maybe they're not weird at all. Maybe they're signals. Signals that your brain likes depth, complexity, meaning I'd love to know. Did any of these resonate with you? Do you have habits that people call strange but feel natural to you? Let's explore them together. Because understanding your mind isn't about ego, it's about growth. And growth, in the end, might be the real measure of intelligence.